'tis morning, and all the trains in the railroad yard are fast asleep. All except Casey's. His engine is slow asleep.
What's going on, guys? It's your boy Cisco the Ink Boy, and wow, you guys, your support for my last video was insane. So I decided to do another video where I transform a cheap train set into a customized masterpiece. I put up a poll to see whether you guys wanted me to do one of a locomotive I call Flat Top, simply because it literally has a flat top stack. The other option on the poll was the locomotive from the Brave Engineer. You guys chose the latter, so that's what I'll be tackling in today's video. So without further ado, let's jump right in. So this time we're going to go with likely an HO scale size train set, simply called a battery operated train set. This looks to be pretty old, so you'll likely find this on eBay or something. Let's look at the contents, shall we? So this train set comes with a locomotive, a tender, and 2 flat cars. One with wood and one with barrels. The Brave Engineer locomotive pulls a mail car and a caboose. The locomotive that comes with the set requires 2 AA batteries, and the motor this time is in a different position. The wheels on this locomotive are far too spaced out, whereas the driving wheels on the Brave Engineer locomotive are closer together. Plus there's a set of 4 pilot wheels in front, so there's that. By the way, this locomotive in particular took the longest for me to do. So if I sound tired at all in this recording, I actually am. And with that being said, I am splitting this into 2 parts. So in today's video, I'll be doing just the locomotive and the tender, and in the next part, I'll be doing the mail car and the caboose. In drafting the plans for this engine, I wanted to find a way to incorporate the chassis with the design of this particular locomotive without it looking like crap. For starters, I began clipping off and unscrewing parts of the locomotive, and then I had to detach the wires from under the body shell where the light is, and then extend them to fit in the headlight for the Brave Engineer loco. Like last time, I used a paper towel roll to make the boiler, and then I built the front of the boiler, headlight, and cab out of cardboard. Like last time, I made it so that I could remove the boiler to replace the batteries when needed. To make the funnel, I used the same technique as last time, layering hot glue onto a hot glue stick and then shaping it with a hot end of the hot glue gun. I also cut into the chassis to rearrange the front driving wheel and bring it closer to the second driving wheel. The tender looked pretty close to the one in the cartoon, so I used it instead of making an entirely new one. I made the side flaps and other details, and then rearranged the coupling pieces on the front and the back. I then glued the funnel to the boiler and made a front piece for the headlight and glued it into place. I also added extra hot glue to shape the headlights some more. I then took a small bell from an old HO locomotive I had, and then attached it along with the sand dome and the whistle dome. And now I will show you a technique of mine on how I made the whistle. I take a rectangular piece of paper and then coat the surface with Elmer's glue. And then I roll it to make the stem. Then I cut off the extra part leaving enough room for the main part of the whistle, and then I roll it into shape. The most tricky part by far was figuring out what to do with the pilot wheels. After much thinking, I figured I could cut a piece of cardboard to put the wheels on, and then use one of the screws to put on one end and attach it to the chassis. I also had to cut the front part of the chassis to make room for the pilot wheels. Then, after making the cowcatcher and gluing it onto place, my next challenge was figuring out the driving rods. After much pondering, I remembered that I still have an old locomotive that I customized to look like the 2019 Casey Jr. that I made in 2019. I looked at how the driving rods connected to the pistons and then tried to copy that. Thankfully, I had a Q-tip lying around, which by the way I used them for crafting only, and then I made a connecting piece and fit the driving rods into place, which surprisingly worked. And with that, I decided to give it a test run. Whoa, 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 okay.
Right off the bat, I'm noticing a couple of problems.
But after readjusting it some more, it did actually move on the track and continued for a few loops. At least the headlight was working as intended. I realized that the problem was that there wasn't any weight on the front of the engine, making the motor weigh down more on the tracks. To fix this issue, I took some clay and packed it underneath the cowcatcher. Then I started the painting process, starting with the locomotive. And there we are. Y'all, I am not kidding when I say that this was a tough piece of work, but in the end, I think I'm satisfied with what I've got. I don't know about the driving rods though, I'm probably gonna leave them as they are, but all in all, this turned out to be alright. But what do you guys think? Tell me in the comments below, and like I said, there will be 2 parts. So in the next part, I will be making both the mail car and the caboose, and then giving the train its final run. So stay tuned! In the meantime, if you would, give this video a like, subscribe, and share. Turn on the notification bell so you can receive new updates whenever I upload another video. And thank you guys so much for tuning in and for your support on the last video and for 8K subs and for everything. You guys are amazing. And with that being said, peace out.